Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Yes, good evening and welcome back for your second free video of the day right here on the Kop TV. Of course, it's time for Top of the Kops, episode 30. Is this 35? Honestly, lose count. We've done a lot now on the Kop TV. And if you are watching us right now, please remember to like every single video that you watch. It's the least you could do. If you're going to stick around for more than 10 seconds, I mean, I want you to. I don't want you to, just stick around, like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I've got a great fella on tonight. He goes by the name of Ian, aka Craigo28. How are we, fella? Welcome to Top of the Kops.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, in terms of football, I think even the Hodgson days, I don't think we've had a run as bad as this. So things have been better, mate. As you can see, I've gone to wearing our owner's other club. So focusing on them at the minute. But no, it's good to have you on. Please, guys, do get your questions in for Ian, Chelsea YouTuber. Apparently, I was in one of his fan cam watch-along reaction videos where you might have seen or might not have seen Sophie Rose. I should probably get a clip up of it next time, to be fair. But Sophie Rose, how would you describe her dancing there, Ian? In 3 words.
Shambolic. Yeah, that's got to be up there. Awkward.
Yeah, but it was
just strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Shambolic, awkward, and strange.
Effort, fair enough, but effort don't mean execution, unfortunately.
The thing is, the effort, you could say that, but realistically, she wasn't really going for it. It was very stiff. Like the effort was. Listen, I like Sophie; she's a nice girl, but I have to say the effort wasn't. I can't give her more than a 5.5.
She tried.
She tried. That was about it. Nothing more than trying, though, really. But yeah, big up to you for coming on, mate. Jamie Lane says she's good looking, though, mate. All right, well, that just solves it all then, does it? Just because she's good looking, it's fine. Okay. If that was Susan Boyle, I would have been doing the same thing. Don't worry about that, son. Let's get into the show then. What have we got coming up? We're going to be talking about Liverpool losing again, but Chelsea looking good. Is Klopp going to Germany? Some UCL predictions, second legs, Liverpool and Chelsea, and some Euro predictions. Obviously, wearing the England shirt tonight, so we do want to touch on that. And then we'll get into your match day mixer, and then 2 classic would you rather questions as well. And then we'll take some questions from our viewers at the end as well. So do get your questions in now for myself and Craig. Nippon says, like the England shirt, Craig, obviously a Chelsea fan there. Right, so let's talk about it then. Liverpool aren't playing well. It's true. It's a fact that I now have to deal with. I mean, a lot of times, Robbie in particular has pushed me on this. Are you the worst champions? Is it fair to say that right now Chelsea hold that title?
I think realistically, yeah, we still do hold it. But
because the season isn't finished yet.
Yeah, this is the thing. You could make top 4. I don't know how likely Van Dijk and Henderson are to come back, but you need some sort of leadership. If one of them comes back before the end of the season or some positive sign comes in, you don't know where it could be. But I think when we won the league under Mourinho, we were, I think, by far away the best side in the country, and I think across a lot of Europe as well. Actually, at the time, we had this unfortunate Champions League games and whatever. But I think the thing for us is obviously we went for a complete collapse in that season after we won the league. So we sacked the manager. There was the scandal around Eva Cunero and what had happened with that and everything with Mourinho. Wow. Where that obviously hasn't happened with Liverpool.
We've had our own scandals.
Yeah, well, at the same time, it makes it better and makes it worse. Chelsea completely fell apart. We completely fell apart that following season, and Liverpool are showing signs of falling apart, but haven't had that one massive problem, that we had from the first game of the season. Obviously, injuries have been a massive thing, and because of the C word that I don't want to say because I want to get this video monetized for you, it's cost you. It has cost you because, Van Dijk gets injured.
Which C word's that?
Oh, the 5-letter one that's going around at the moment. It's got a 19 on the end of it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Nice
yeah.
one. Thank you.
And also the longer one that's a beer with a V after it.
Yeah.
Those two, don't say them, otherwise you get taken down. But yeah, no, I think Van Dijk, correct me if I'm wrong on this, got injured just before the transfer window shut.
Yeah, I think it was late October, and the window, I believe, shut maybe October 31st.
Something, yeah, that sounds about right.
I think it might have been October 28th that he got injured, I think.
Could have potentially gone and got another centre-half, but didn't.
Yeah.
Big part of that is because of the money. It's the money that you guys had available. You also, I think I'm correct, you applied for the furlough scheme, didn't you?
With the staff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, but then I think we took it away.
I think they did, but it still kind of shows the signs that there was potentially something wrong there in terms of money. Hence, you didn't go and buy another centre half, which makes things difficult for you. Again, any other year, I think with 3 days left to go in the window, you go and buy another centre half to replace Van Dijk, who we all knew was going to be out for the season. Didn't have an opportunity to do it. You've now done it in January, and the two that you've got in aren't world beaters, unfortunately. You've done well, actually. The fact that you've got Fabinho and Henderson have done a job there, but again, you're taking them out of midfield, and they are so good in midfield that it's at what cost?
See that,
yeah. But I think in terms of us, I mean, I still think we're the worst. I think we are the worst, but it's very quickly coming towards you. I think we had a complete collapse. We changed the manager. We went into complete free fall, and we finished 10th. Where you guys aren't in a complete free fall, I should say. Sorry. And are you 9th at the moment or 8th at the moment?
I think to be honest, mate, I don't even know. If someone can let us know,
you're just trying to forget about it.
Exactly. I'm a bit numb to it now, but I haven't looked and studied where we sit.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, about 4 weeks. No need for it, to be honest. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Listen, there's 2.5 months left to the season. I mean, it's a question and an answer that no one wants to be anywhere near to be honest. So if we can finish anywhere above 10, I guess we escape that, to be honest. But let's talk about Chelsea. I mean, since he's come in, I think it's 10 games, 7 wins, hasn't lost a game. He is doing well, but do you feel a little bit cheated by the players? Because let's have it right, Ian. You're a club legend.
Yes.
As a manager beforehand. And I don't know about you, but if, let's say, Gerrard did what Lampard did, then all of a sudden someone came in and all of a sudden they run it a bit faster, they tackle a bit harder, they jump a bit higher, they score a few more goals. Do you almost think, hang on, why couldn't you have done that for Frank?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
No, I do. And there's been a problem at Chelsea for 15, 20 years or so about player power. And the player power, again, we had massive managers, Ranieri, Mourinho, early days of Abramovich, and then player power really started to kick in. But the players that had the power were John Terry, were Lampard, were Drogba, were Cech, and it was that really high caliber where that still kind of filtered through. And as these players, of course, have moved on and retired and whatever, it's like the next person gets that player power. And I think that certain players in the squad have been around the team for a few years now, not saying forever, but they've been around the squad for a few years, and I kind of feel like they're dragging themselves into that player power, and they don't deserve it. And I think Frank Lampard was the weak point in he had no managerial experience really, and I have to say I actually really enjoyed Lampard as manager because it was just a complete fresh start. We didn't really know what we expected. We had the transfer ban, so it was like, okay, obviously, I want to see us winning loads of games and silverware and whatever, but I'm kind of willing to accept what could happen here and what are the potential consequences. Then again, because of the C word, we had a load of money to spend. No one else did. Lampard's job changed massively from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah, huge.
And to be fair to him, I don't think he could deal with it. But at the same time, the players made it harder for him completely. Again, I think like Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, they haven't necessarily hit the ground running, haven't loved their start in English football, but now under Tuchel, they're looking a little bit better. but still, it's the ones that were there from before. You know, Marcus Alonso, who threw his toys out of the pram against West Brom when we drew 3-3, wanted to walk out the stadium when they tried to hide on the team bus, didn't want to, because after you got substituted at half time. Now, all of a sudden, just like that, he's back in the fold, and everyone's going, oh, well, he's fantastic, he's great.
Yeah.
And he has been better, of course he has, and he's playing a more natural role for him. But for me, I can't forget the lack of effort and energy that went in from certain individuals, one of which being Marcus Alonso. He didn't even get a look in after that game from Frank Lampard, and you have to think about what happened that maybe we didn't see. Yeah. But yeah, no, it is a real shame, unfortunately, that these players do kind of lower standards, shall we say, to get the manager gone.
If they can pick them back up, then that means they know that they've been putting it down. So it is what it is. Let us know in the comments if you think that's cheating, if you want to call it that. I don't know. Let's talk about Klopp speaking to the press today, Ian, that he said he's categorically ruled himself out of the job for Germany. As Nippon says here, no, Klopp is not going to Germany. He ruled it out, which he did quite. I mean, these things can often be misconstrued, but I've watched a clip on Sky Sports News, and to be fair, he puts it down straight away. This is obviously great news for Liverpool. I mean, are you in the camp that say it would be wild if we were to do anything apart from back him?
I mean, he's the guy that's brought you a league title for the first time in 30 years and the Champions League for the first time in 14, was it? 14 years? 15? Yeah, whenever it was.
14, yeah, 14.
14 years. Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense to sack him. I don't see what anything would be. When we say back him, I'm not saying about give him another 300 million quid, and rebuild the team completely, because I still think the players you've got are good enough to go and win the league. And from a Chelsea fan point of view, I actually want you guys to get Europa League football, because it means it's a more strenuous task on you guys and it makes life a little bit harder. Generally, because it makes it a problem. We've been in that position.
I know. Trust me, we've been there as well.
Yeah, but this is the thing. You guys should probably go and win that competition as well, and it all looks different. But if you finish 10th, you absolutely piss the league. Like it's not even a question. You just piss it, because you ain't got to play every week, or every midweek, and you can just go and focus on you. The players that you've got at the moment still are good enough to go and do that. You do need to freshen some players up. I saw a rumour that Wijnaldum could potentially go. Was it Inter Milan? I want to go. He was going somewhere.
Yeah, it was originally Barca. Now it looks like the rumours are that it's Inter. But again, he was in that same press conference as Klopp today, and he seemed to be smiling and laughing, saying, "Listen, I'm happy. The contract still hasn't come, but I'm happy." So, I mean, if I was Liverpool, I'd be doing everything I could to tie him down. He's easily been our most consistent player this year, maybe even last year. And he's often the actual person who might not get the headlines, but without him on the pitch, there's absolutely no organisation sometimes, to be honest.
I think, a few of those players that you need in your team, again, you can go and be absolute world beaters. You do need a couple of so-called bread and butter players. And he is up there in terms of bread and butter. He's like Clover, like proper, decent quality of the best kind of thing.
Is that the best, you reckon, Clover?
Yeah, I reckon it is. Yeah, I back it. It depends what sandwich you're having, but yeah, I back that. But I think he is that upper echelon's, bog standard player. He's going to pop up with goals. He does his job. He doesn't moan. He just does his thing. And if he goes, you've got to replace him with somebody. But at the same time, again, you struggle because of Van Dijk's injury and Gomez and these few people. You're going to get them all back next year. Next year is going to be very, very different. Yeah. One or two more pieces maybe to be added in. The fullback options are great, but you've got no one really if they go out injured. Probably need to strengthen a little bit on that. And again, you're going to be absolutely fine. And Jurgen Klopp's going to be at the forefront of it. So I understand, obviously, the links with the German national team, and that job doesn't come around very often. But at the same time, I mean, Champions League winners, Premier League winners in the last 2 years, 3 years, or whatever it'll be. Why would you move? It doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. But Again,
I think,
German national team, German manager, it makes sense.
yeah, I think you're in the smart camp of people who aren't just looking at this from a few months. I mean, listen, to be fair, I was at the last Premier League game at Anfield against Bournemouth. We just scraped that one 2-1, and then a few days later it was the Atletico return leg.
Yeah.
And I was at that game as well. And I heard Rio Ferdinand say something on his podcast today, and he said, since that game, the Atletico one, I think I think our win percentage is around 38%. Whereas compared to before, if you think back to last season, in the first 28 games of the season, we won 27 of them and drew 1.
Yeah.
Which is actually the best start to any European league ever of all time. It's the most points at that stage. So to go from that to where we are now, it's mental. But at the same stage, you don't get rid of Klopp. You keep Klopp because he's the best thing that's happened to Liverpool, I would argue, since Bob Paisley. And then before that, Bill Shankly. So he's definitely in the top 3 to ever happen to our club. So I'm glad you think like that as well. Mitchell says, have you ever heard of Lurpak? So some butter beef, if that's ever happened before.
Yeah, the Lurpak's the go-to in my house, but I mean, the Clover, you just step it up, don't you? You just step it up to the next level. You never get a big tub of it. You just get a little one. Every now and again, you go, oh yeah,
they're about £3.28. Yeah,
it's quite expensive. Some nice sounds going.
Yeah. Moby Aluku says Liverpool looking like Arsenal. I mean,
not quite that bad.
Not quite that bad. Let's quickly touch on the Champions League again this week. Tomorrow, Liverpool play RB Leipzig. I did a preview of that game, lineup prediction, score prediction on the channel earlier, so do go back and watch that after this. But Chelsea. And I have to say, mate, I did watch you play against Atletico. The result is obviously hugely impressive. The performance itself was limiting what they had to offer, which was obviously great for you. The 17th is the return leg. Are they coming to? They're not coming to London.
Well, who knows? I think with the Spanish government, they don't want any sports team to come into England. So I think it might be another one where it's elsewhere in the world.
Okay. So in that return leg, I mean, what's your predictions there? What's the score going to be in that one?
I think it's tough. We've got the away goal, which is fantastic, but just as we saw in the Manchester derby, you give away a penalty in the first couple of minutes, and the game looks very different. And I don't think Chelsea can afford to go and not necessarily park the bus. That's the wrong choice of words, but go into this game thinking, well, if we score, if we keep a clean sheet, we're through. Because although they didn't do anything in the first leg going forward, they realistically could do something in this leg going forward, and that causes a big problem for us. Because again, if they score in the first half, then our away goal that we worked so hard for and did such a professional performance for in Bucharest in the first leg is out the window. It's gone. So it makes life a little bit harder for us. I think we still got to go out and score. I think we can stop them from scoring twice. But in terms of scoring once, it's too fine line to be able to really just go, we'll park the bus and we just sit here and do our thing. So I think, again, if I'm going to give a prediction, I generally could see it being a 1-1, but I do see us scoring, even if it is by maybe an unconventional way. Maybe it's a counter-attack by Timo Werner or something. But I do see us scoring again, which then makes them have all the pressure on them. Is can they deal with it? And can they break us down?
I think looking back again to that Atletico Madrid game that Liverpool played in last season, totally different. They still had Partey. They've now got Suarez. They got rid of Morata. It's a different team. But I think if Suarez gets an early sniff, he's the type of player that whatever you think is going to happen before the game, he can absolutely get it out the window in the first 5 minutes. Who's to say? I mean, who's to say Chelsea aren't to score early and completely switch the game up and open it up way more? But if Suarez is on form and Felix is on form and they're all fighting, I reckon you're going to be in for a really tough game.
Yeah,
really
we definitely are. And I think a lot of people...
He can just turn it on and score 2 in 5 minutes.
See, this is the thing. A lot of people are assuming that, again, all the work that we did in the first leg means that we are completely through it. And that's really not the case. We have got a good squad at Chelsea. We haven't necessarily got a squad that's full of match winners. someone that's going to go and really grab the game by the balls and, you know, drag us through or whatever. Something like what Drogba would have done in years gone by, or Lampard would have done in years gone by. But at the moment, we haven't really got that person who's going to potentially put the team on their back. And Giroud was the guy that came up with the moment of magic. But the moment of magic isn't going to win this second leg. You know, it's going to have to be a long old slug, and it's going to have to. We're going to have to be another very professional performance, and someone's going to have a big game and put the team on the back. Could do. It wouldn't surprise me. It's only 1-0. You know, 1-0, and the game is completely level if they score and we can't do anything. It's that simple. It's not that impossible. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans are going like, "Oh, okay, well, we've done the hard work. We've got the away goal.
Yeah,
the hard work starts now. The hard work really starts now, and that's where the advantage of the home fans would come in. Of course, that's not going to be the case, but if you've got to see out a 1-0 win and just kind of hold on for 90 minutes with 40,000 people behind you at Stamford Bridge, then we've probably got a chance. But in this current climate that we're in, it's just too unpredictable to just say, oh, yeah, the game is over and we aren't in for a really tough test in the second leg, because one moment of madness, magic, whatever it be, changes this tie completely.
Absolutely agree with you, mate. The same for us as well, really. So just to finish on Chelsea, score prediction for that one.
I'll say 1-1. I'll say that we'll go through, but I do see them scoring. At some point, our defence has been great, but at some point it's got to break, and it's just a case of can we break it nicely rather than blow it wide open.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. I am going to go for a 2-1 Atletico win. I do think if Suarez is on his A game, I mean, you play against any team that Suarez is in, you've got big trouble. So, but if he does bring it and he's on his A game and he can outmuscle, because to be honest, the defence had him in the last game.
Yeah. Between
Rudiger and Christensen, I think that's who was playing. They had him. Yeah. So, I'm going to go for him to turn up just because I know what he can do. But hey, if you don't turn up and they go through, I'd love to play them again. But alternatively, if you go through, I'm not going to lie, I'd love to play Chelsea in the Champions League again. Yeah. It's been a while.
We've had some good games down the years. We've had some good old games.
Mate, from 05 to 09.
Yeah.
Every year we played each other in the Champions League. Every year.
That's the 4-4, brilliant game of football. Just
3-2.
Yeah, really enjoyable. Just really enjoyable games of football. Regardless of what side you finished on. Yeah. It was good quality football.
I'd say we both, it probably ended up 50-50 overall, I'd say. Yeah. The 04, 05, obviously we take that. I think 05, 06, we have you in the group and it was 0-0 both times or something like that. 06, 07, we got you again. 07, 08, you got us. 08, 09, you got us. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like,
it's tough.
Punch and move, but and get punched. But let's quickly touch on Liverpool, RB Leipzig tomorrow night. 2-0 up in the first leg. If we score 1, they'll need 3. Hearing that no Firmino injured, which to me is actually, if it's his turn to get injured, because obviously everyone has turns to get injured at Liverpool. If it's his turn this week,
so be it.
Then so be it, because I think Jota and even Shaqiri to replace Mane actually with Salah, I think it would be the more likely one. I went with a 3-1 win to Liverpool for that one. What would you go on that one, Ian?
I think, to be fair to Leipzig, they just have to throw everything at it.
I mean, just to give you some context, sorry, mate, but their last 3 games since they played us, scored 9, conceded 2. And that includes 2 away clean sheet, 3-0 wins. See,
again, it's the context of who they're against, whether that's
Freiburg and Borussia Mönchengladbach.
That's a good stat. That's what we like, because Mönchengladbach are half decent.
Freiburg, not so much.
Yeah, I think they're going to. I mean, they have to go for it. They have to. They have to be able to go for it. The question is are they going to break you down? Again, you've got a 2-goal lead, so you can probably afford to sit a little bit deeper. We had so much success against you the other day, or the other week now, whenever it was, last week. God, it feels like longer.
Mate,
last week we had some.
To me.
Yeah, we had so much success against you because we were able to play over the top, and that's not something that you're going to do to them. So they've got to figure out a way to break you down. So I think I'll go for another draw in that one. I think I might go for a 1-1, but again, they just can't get it done. Again, if you score, then it's game over, regardless.
Liverpool to go through then. Right, quickly, just before we get on to the match day mixer, which is, I think, the best part of the show. Ian, what's your predictions for England at the Euros? I mean, whatever way you look at it, all the different, 11s that you can choose that are available, they all look good.
Yeah.
They all look good, but we've been in this position before. We know what the score is with England. Quickly, in 15 seconds, what's going to happen with England at the Euros?
I feel like we say this every year. Oh, we got a great team. We got a great team. And it always ends the same way. I think it's actually easier to get to the semi-final of the World Cup than it is to get to the semi-final of the Euros. So I think we're probably going to end up going out in the quarter-final again. Honestly.
There you go. 15 seconds is up. That's it. Trudon says semis.
I'd love to get there.
Let's get onto this bit. This is the match day mixer. So, Ian, as you know, mate, unfortunately, we haven't been able to go to Premier League stadiums or Premier League or European stadiums. I actually was at Chelsea for that FA Cup game. I think it was early Feb last year. Had a great chicken burger. That's all I can remember from that. And getting chased out of the stadium. But apart from that, it was a pleasant experience. But anyway, going into those stadiums has been a huge miss. And I thought I'd collate 5 best things about the match day experience and bring them to you, seeing as we can't do them in real life. So before the show, I asked Ian for a drink, music, food, trainers, and a jacket. These are 5 things that I'm sure you'll agree happen easily on a match day. So let's get into this one, guys. Let us know in the comments what you think to Ian's selection. Let's go for your jacket first. You've gone for a classic Harrington jacket.
Yes.
I mean, famous for football matches, really. I would say this was probably an early adaptation by the skinheads, I would say, in the late kind of 60s.
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
Talk to us about the Harrington. Is this going to keep you warm on those cold nights at the bridge?
See, I have got a little bit of extra padding, so I naturally keep myself warm anyway. I tell you, the main thing is I hate carrying things. I really hate carrying things. So if I can get away with carrying the lightest thing possible, I do. So, I mean, again, West London, a little bit nice. You could potentially go out to some different bars and whatever.
Yeah.
If you wear a Harrington and some sort of nice polo shirt or even a smarter looking football shirt, you can get into these places. If you don't, then you're kind of struggling. So I always go for a kind of classic Harrington when I can. Again, sometimes you do have to bin it off, and I mean, sometimes it's freezing. But when I can go for a classic Harrington, I do. Just kind of lightweight, casual. It's just simplistic, honestly. And it probably has been adapted by the skinheads from years gone by. But yeah, I think as long as you don't have a skinhead, you look all right with it. I think that's pretty much the bottom line.
Jamie Lane going for the North Face coat.
Yeah, see, that's too big for me. I couldn't be doing that because I hate carrying it. And again, if I'm really hot, you got to take it off. There's no middle ground.
Then you just carry it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hear that. Sorry if you can hear my washing machine aggressively doing its final spin there. It has just beeped, which means it's over now. But I do apologise if you've been hearing that as those clothes rattle round. And again, let's go on to your trainers. I mean, I actually have these trainers. I'm a big fan of these. The Nike Cortezes, a 1972 silo, really adapted in the kind of Olympics, I would say, in the late 70s.
Yep.
A beautiful shoe. Have a pair upstairs. Great for the summer. Great for especially shorts, I would go with on these.
Yes. So my first job was I worked for Nike. I worked in a Nike store.
Amazing.
Was my first job, yeah.
Which store?
Fan. I worked in Wembley, the little one in Wembley.
The outlet?
Yeah.
Nice. I've been there.
Nutty store that was. We had the match day, so had like 90,000 people going at the stadium. And it was really enjoyable, really nuts. It was great. But I'm a massive fan of Tom Hanks, and they're the shoes that he wore in Forrest Gump.
Forrest, run.
Yeah. So I looked at him and it's like, I'm going to back these kind of thing. I just really enjoy them. And I wore them to football on a handful of occasions with some jeans, Harrington jacket. Again, when you get the Harrington, you get a little bit kind of red with it. So it kind of goes. As well, Chelsea have had some decent shirts that have got a little bit of red trim and got some polo shirts and whatever, a little bit of red. So it kind of goes quite nicely. But yeah, no, I backed them on one or two occasions, and then thought, oh yeah, I'll enjoy them. And people kept commenting, going, oh yeah, they're banging out, old school. Yeah, I really like them. And to be fair, they're actually not that expensive. They're not like you get like TNs and what
63 quid.
Yeah, it's nuts. And you're kind of like, well, they are just comfy. They're comfy. They're chill. Again, West London, you've got to go and wear some half decent footwear in there, so you can get away with a decent pair of them. Again, leather, so they can look half decent.
I've actually got them in black leather and white leather. These ones,
or black leather, or you want to kick people's heads in black leather. Oh.
No, I mean, to be fair, they've got a bit of a brown trim, so they actually look a touch smart. So
nice, like that.
But yeah, big fan of the Cortez, and it's actually reminded me I'm going to start wearing mine again.
Definitely. Yeah, they are
as we come
cool
into
shoe.
The spring. Love that. Thank you.
They've got no grip whatsoever, but they are a really great shoe. If you wear them in the winter, you've got a problem. But
mind you, if you get ketchup on the lace area, then you wouldn't be too happy. But we'll get on to ketchup later. Right now, we're going to go for music. Now, a lot of people who have come on here before, Ian, have opted for Oasis. I can't lie to you. You're the first person that's ever gone with Blur in the kind of Britpop category. I'm a big fan of Britpop myself. Listen, I am a Blur fan, but there's no hiding the fact that I'm a bigger Oasis fan. So talk to me about this one. Yeah,
well, they play Parklife, especially at the Bridge. In terms of Blur, I mean, the main kind of thing again, Parklife is just so iconic. It's almost like the Chelsea version of, You'll Never Walk Alone. I know that's a little bit different, but literally just before the teams walk out, they play Parklife. It kind of feels like it's a very West London-y kind of tune, kind of like a little bit of swagger about it, which is one of the things I really enjoy about Chelsea. I live in West London myself, not necessarily Chelsea, but close by, so I can appreciate the same kind of thing. But yeah, there's so many it could have been. Parklife is just the one that instantly kind of sparks into my mind. But again, a lot of people would pick Oasis, and it's completely understandable. But yeah, no, I think again, it's almost just kind of what you've grown up with, and a big part of going to football for me was hearing Parklife, whether it be before the game, in a bar or a pub or whatever it be, or actually hearing it at the ground, which they kind of started to do probably the last 5 years or so. It's a big part of it for me. So that's probably just the natural choice of it.
Fair play. Listen, everyone loves the kind of games and where you go and you get in a bit early and you hear some of the songs being played. I could name Mersey Paradise, for example, by the Stone Roses. That's played before every Liverpool game, but they're a band from Manchester that all support Man United. So it's weird, isn't it? Jamie Lane says AJ Tracy is good. He is. I've interviewed AJT before, AGT and AJT. David Harriott goes with Oasis. Morning Glory was one of the definitive albums of the 90s. Absolutely. I would say maybe even top album of the 90s. I'll go as far as saying that, to be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't really alive during the 90s, but I would probably have backed that. Yeah.
How old are you?
23.
Oh, you're 23. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was born in 94, so yeah, 6 onwards. I was from 6 to hang on. I was 6 in the year 2000.
Yeah, I was.
Great memory.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Food. You've gone with halloumi fries. I mean, like I said, I was at Stamford Bridge February last year. And I did have a really nice and enjoyable chicken burger. So I have to say the food's definitely improved. But halloumi fries, talk to me about these.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a weird one. I mean, the natural thing, I always go before the game. I more often than not go before the games, get a burger from various different outlets and whatever. But we obviously doing the YouTube stuff, we go to games, we do vlogs and different things. More often than not, we all end up in Wetherspoons after the game. And
classic.
They've got this kind of like match day menu kind of thing, and it's almost like, oh, we'll do a burger and chips, and they do like everything's really basic. And then if you get to like 2 hours after the game, which we're still at the pub, they go back to the normal menu. So you're kind of by the time we're all done, it kind of just naturally fits in that we get right at the end of the match day menu. Just wait a couple of minutes, and then you get back into the normal Wetherspoons menu again. And halloumi fries is just so easy just to pick up and eat and whatever, because chips are easy. Everyone has chips, but you can have them before the game. You can have them afterwards. Where when you're in the pub, you kind of feel like you want pub food, which
you at least want something hot, yeah.
Yeah, you naturally kind of think like just picky bits and whatever. They do like the 3 sharing platters for a tenner or whatever it is. And you kind of just go, yeah, I'll have some halloumi fries, just pick them, cut the chips,
that'll do.
Have some chicken bites or whatever it is, nachos, all those kind of stuff. But yeah, halloumi fries is one for me. It's a bit of a random out there shout. It's very West London, very
well.
pod, but
Yeah, I think this one is a bit of a shout as well. I mean, a lot of people on this channel have come on and chosen beer, rum, bit of whiskey if it's a.
Was that Expressions? I'm going to assume that was Expressions.
Expressions chose a Magnum, actually, tonic wine.
Did he really?
He did, yeah. But you've gone for a Lucozade Orange. I mean, a Magnum. Trust me, the Magnum you're thinking of, a Magnum of champagne, is not what he chose. He chose an actual Magnum, which is a brand name of a tonic wine, which you can buy for less than £2 in your local store. That's more Expressions. You're thinking of You're thinking of the actual Magnum, huge sizes of champagne.
Yeah.
But,
well, to be honest, my first thought when you said Magnum was the ice cream. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's what producer Jasvinder put on as the picture for when he said Magnum, and he was like, "No, that's wrong. It was the bottle, not the ice cream." Anyway, you've gone for Lucozade Sport, no alcohol there. Isotonics, get them into your system, I say.
Yeah, well, I don't drink, so that's the downside for me is that I'm not a drinker. So
ever have been?
No,
Or?
never have. No, been
really?
I've often been tempted to by people, but no, never done it. So
never had one sip of alcohol.
No, I say one sip. I took a pint over to my dad in a pub about 3 years ago, probably at football actually. Took it over to him and it was spilling over the top. So I had a little bit off the top just to stop it from spilling. It's crap. It's honestly crap. I get what
beer is crap.
Yeah, I don't get what the hype is about it. I really don't get it. Then? Well, I just enjoy it. It's the social. The social is the main part of it for me.
Would you drink at a pub?
I drink orange squash. I know. I know.
Wow. That's mad. Fair play though, bro. Moving on, because I do want to get on to the next bit of the show, bro. And I know you've got to get off as well. Would you rather, a classic one this week, would you rather, or who do you think will be the better striker, Mbappe or Haaland? Now, this is a very broad question that we could probably discuss and delve into and predict. But in 10 seconds, round it up for me. So I got a belter after this as well.
I think as a striker, it would probably be Haaland. I think, again, footballer maybe could be Mbappe, but as a striker, I think it'll be Haaland. I just think he's a bit more physical, got a bit more of a presence, and he's a bit more a natural centre forward rather than Mbappe. More often than not, plays wide. I could be completely wrong, but I think the better one as a striker would be Haaland.
Jamie Lane just reconfirming that he gets a Lucozade because he's only 17. That's fair enough. Let us know your thoughts below on this just quickly before we move on to the next one. Haaland or Mbappe? Jamie says Mbappe. I am actually going to go Vian on this one. I'm going to touch it to Haaland. Next question. What's a Chelsea special, mate? So please put your Chelsea hat back on for this one. Bring back Lampard or stay with Tuchel?
No, I'd stay with Tuchel now. Yeah, I love Frank, and a lot of people think I love Frank probably too much. But
and even though you love him that much, you still wouldn't want him back. And
I take him back, but not now. Not now. Again, it's with the players that we've got. Is he going to be able to do the same job? Yes or no? And I don't think necessarily that he would be able to do the same job that Thomas Tuchel's doing. So I'm going to back Tuchel. I do think he's a very good manager, Tuchel. I do worry longer term, but I really enjoyed my kind of Frank days and the Frank time that we had.
Only a year?
Yeah, I know, and it was cut short as well because of the old C word. But yeah, it's yeah, I enjoyed it. Maybe it looks a little bit different in the future, but I'd stick with Thomas Tuchel for now.
Yeah, no return for Frank Lampard. Speaking of C words, only joking, only joking, only joking, only joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. Right, listen, thank you so much for coming on, Ian. Really appreciate it, mate. It's been a real pleasure to have you on.
No worries.
Please go and subscribe to Craigo. He's not just Chelsea, he also covers Champions League bits and bobs, European football, and I'm sure he'll be doing stuff for the Euros as well. So if you like all that stuff, his link is in the description. So Ian, thanks a lot for coming on, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
All the best, fella. There you go. Ian, aka Craigo28, coming on to talk to us about Chelsea, but also his thoughts about the Champions League. Guys, if you have liked this video, which of course you will do, please do give us a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be back tomorrow night with fan cams after the game. Take care, and we'll see you soon. All the best.